We're here on Wood Prairie Family Farm today. My name is Megan, and we're going to make some soil blocks right here on the kitchen table. I'm going to be working with Fort-Vee Compost. It's made in Vermont by Vermont Compost. I'm going to be using the 5-hole soil block maker today. This is just how it would come to you if you ordered it from our store. We're going to have to put in the little seed hole makers. You'll get 5. So we'll just get all 5 of those, and those are going to make a nice little hole to put your seeds in. So I've got a nice deep tub here of this Fort-Vee, and I'm going to get it really wet. Quite a lot wetter than you would think. I like to use warm water. I figure the seeds are going to be a little happier, come up a little quicker. Now, if you were just filling a tray with soil for planting seeds in, this would be a little too wet. You don't really need it quite this wet for just a plain tray. But if you're going to make soil blocks, you want to have a lot of water in there. It helps it all stick together. I just have a square tray for planting my plants in. And I'm going to smooth this out so that it's a little deeper than this, maybe almost twice as deep as that soil block maker is. We'll go right down. We'll go right down into it. Rock it back and forth, and then I'm going to go down into it again. I'm really pushing that soil in there. When it comes out, I'll smooth it off, but I'm checking to make sure that those are full and packed. Okay, so here's your motion. You're going to, when you put the blocks into your tray, you're going to pull up on this thing. You're not pushing down on that. You're pulling this form up out of the way. So we'll start right here. And I'll pull up, give a little tap. Oh, those are beautiful. Right, so let's keep going. Keep making more. You're packing that right full of that wet soil. Pack it in a little at the end, smooth it off. And pull up on the form. So this is a 5-block maker, which I use for greens and brassicas. It's about 1.5 inches square. I mean, you could start your tomatoes and peppers in it too. Today is really early in the season. It's mid-February, and we're going to start some leeks and onions. Those are the first things that want to get going in the winter. Of course, we are here in northern Maine, so some of you may have already started some plants. Smooth it off, pack it in, make sure that's all packed in. If one of them hasn't got enough, I'll go right ahead and pack a little more in there. So these are independent blocks of soil, and there's a space of air around them so that when the little root comes to the edge, it'll meet the air and it'll air prune the root. So all of your roots will stay inside that block and they won't circle around. Gives a better root system. And you would wonder, how's that going to hold together when I water it? Well, it's because you've packed them. They'll hold that form right for weeks and weeks without falling apart. Okay, so now we have room for just one more block. That's no trouble. We can make one block with one of these. Pack that right in there. I'll give me one block. I'll set it right down there. So these are going to be Rossa Di Milano onions. They're a good keeper. We grew those last summer. And the soil blocks are 1.5 inch. I'm going to put 2 to 3 seeds in each soil block. And then I'm not going to worry about thinning to 1 per block. So what I'm going to end up having is 2 onions growing next to each other about every 3 to 4 inches down the row. And they get just as big as you need them to get. I also like to start leeks at this time of year too, to get a nice big leek. And I'm gonna plant them the same way I did the onions. 2 to 3 seeds per block. When I get out to the garden after these are grown in May, I'll plant these blocks 6 inches apart because I want those leeks to have plenty of room. The more room a plant has, the bigger it can get, the more resources it has. That's great. Okay, so my last step is going to be to cover those seeds so that they stay nice and moist. I'll just take a little of my soil there, put a little pinch inside each hole, and it doesn't have to be pushed in too hard because as soon as you water that in a couple of days, when the soil blocks start to need a little water, that soil will filter right down on top and keep the seeds nice and moist. As soon as you're almost past that last frost, say mid-May, late May, I'll be planting these in the garden in a row. So until then, they're going to live in the house here on a nice sunny windowsill and start growing so that they'll be ready to plant out in May.